Welcome back to the second segment of the Loveland Report and Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve, Loveland, Central Florida's best real estate planner. We've been talking about rates, tariffs, on the effect of housing prices, talking about mortgage rates, talking how Bruce can get you a better rate because he's going to help you straighten out your credit score. You really need to go to WeBringYouHome.com, get your loan started there. You're thinking about it, be ready, have that set. I got mine. Actually, I'm getting fast tracked. I got my new tax returns for 24. So I want to be set. I want to buy like 3 more homes this year, rentals. I want to talk about one thing real quick, Bruce. There's been some news. There was no way for me to have, let's say I've got a house and the seller says, well, I got all these people that want to buy it before we put it on the market. And they say they're going to bring me an offer and let them see it first. I could not put the sign up in front of that house and list that home without sticking it straight into MLS. They're coming back with some rules that allow me to put the sign up, call those people and say, hey, do you want to buy this? And that's the way you smoke those people out.
Okay.
I've got a couple now, bless their heart, a little older up in their years. They want to be sweet. And they say, oh, all of our neighbors want to buy our home before we list with you. And I said, well, the way to do that is tell them it's going to be listed May 10th, and you better call Cleve and bring your offer right now. Well, guess how many of those people have actually showed up to see the home and or want to pay the price they're asking?
None.
So that's why,
am I correct?
That's what, yes, exactly. And that's why you want to have, I just took a listing where somebody didn't know they weren't in MLS. MLS is where the buyers are. MLS is where the 10,000, let's see. Well, there's
now, if you had a buyer that wanted to buy your home and outside of using your real estate agent, that's fine. But you know what happens then? Things go to hell in a handbasket because the seller doesn't know what to do. The buyer doesn't know what to do. Nobody is controlling the transaction. And you know what ends up happening when that happens? I've got to control the transaction.
Yeah, sometimes as a lender.
And I'm not the real estate agent.
Well, what'll happen is you lose time. And like I've got people waiting there. Their new home is being built and they got to move in the next 60 days. And then they find out the guy they've been talking to for 4 months that they met that was walking down the street that said he'd love to buy their home hasn't even got his home on the market, and they've got a closing coming down the pipe at them, and they still have a home to sell. So it's very important. I know what's right in the process, and I can talk to the tire kickers. And I say, Bruce, maybe once a year out of the hundreds of people that say they want to buy one of my sellers' homes, once a year, somebody actually steps up and goes, yep, that's it. I'm going to pay a good price. I want it. I know the neighborhood. They've been educated. But most people, they don't know the process. They say, oh, I'll buy that when my house sells. But they're asking $1 million for their home when it should be 700.
Absolutely.
Things like that. And that's why we have jobs.
If you don't price your home right, then just forget about it. I'm seeing a lot of people pricing their homes under value and then getting multiple offers. And then the realtors are getting them up and up and up from there.
Yep.
What do you think about that strategy?
Well, I think it's hard to pick that point, and it's really dependent. And that's probably a neighborhood where there might be no listings around.
Right.
And it's a very hot neighborhood. There's no new construction. I've got one of those coming up for $1.3 million in Dr. Phillips. And I bet you I will have the last couple of homes in this area have gone with multiple offers. They went above list, and they went within a couple of weeks. And this one is gorgeous. So I'll hopefully have that as a listing.
So you wanted to talk about renovation too.
Yeah, renovation. I think the most important things to do, I've stopped some people from spending some money. When I come out and take a look, I just talked to a gentleman. He's 6 months away from moving, but he was about ready to start doing a major landscaping project. And I'm like, save it. Right. Save it. I go, your house really needs a paint job on the inside, because he had some 2009 colors in the house. I said, we need to go neutral, light gray. We need to get rid of that purple bedroom. Your kids are away to college. Let's paint the rooms, make it all uniform, all these types of things. So he needed $4,000 on the inside. He didn't need $15,000 on the outside out front. He needed $2,000 or $3,000. And I've got all the people for this, Bruce. I've got the crew. They know what the house needs to look like. They know what it does. They swarm it like ants all over it, doing the work on it for 1 or 2 days, mulch, cutting trees, trimming. You don't want a yard like I've got one coming up. It's a 3/4 acre lot, Bruce. It looks like woods. It's very imposing. And this lady needs to downsize. She's in her 80s, but nobody's touched the yard in 20 years. It's overgrown. It's nice Florida wilderness in a very, very east Orlando, remote. But it's going to be that'll be a $5,000 or $6,000 cleanup, because it literally needs probably 5 trailer loads of stuff pulled out of there. A couple dumpsters full.
Well, when it comes to renovating, I mean, you're talking about minor things that a seller needs mostly, to do to get a house ready. When I think of renovation, I think of somebody that found a house, or maybe they're looking for a house and there is no real homes available in the area other than that little fixer-upper but it's in the area that they want.
Yep.
It's got the footprint that'll work for them. Renovation transactions, you can buy that house and I can add in the cost of the renovation into the loan when you buy it.
Yep.
There is no better way to do it. So you find a house, it's 300,000. You want to put $100,000 into it. You want to put 150 grand into it.
Yep.
My neighbor across the street, they live in College Park. Their kids go to school in College Park. Their grocery, everything is close by. They have 4 children now. They started off with none. Now,
how big is the house?
Well, it's a little College Park home. It's a 3-2, but it's a small 3-2. Okay. So I hooked him up with the builder. The builder can literally expand this house big enough for them for $150,000.
That's great.
It's really good. Now, it'll be interesting because I know he could have gone up to 250,000 easily and put a whole new story on the house, but he's going to be able to push out some rooms, push out some walls, expand the house. And it was cost 150. They owe 250. So they're into 400, but they couldn't have replaced that house with the size they want for under 650.
Yep.
So now they've got the area that they want and they can still be within that price point. So if you're looking to stay where you are, or you want to buy a home that needs renovation, I've got all the products for you. FHA, VA, and conventional. Did you know I can do a USDA renovation loan?
Did not know that.
100% financing, USDA.
All your products.
Reno loan.
You always pull one out of your hat.
I'm telling
literally,
you.
yeah.
So pretty doggone phenomenal. I'm actually doing this. I'm doing a VA renovation on a condo right now. A VA renovation on a condo.
That's hilarious.
It can be done.
Speaking of condos, I got some news here about how condos, inventory has grown over the past couple of years. Condo inventory is growing faster.
Well, that's
Bruce,
because nobody wants
because
to
of
buy
the
them.
dues. Yeah, the dues have spiked up. So like
your insurance,
you want to buy a condo for 250, probably means you can qualify for a house at 350.
More than likely.
Yeah, and it's because of the dues. And those will balance out, but sometimes there's a bunch of them on the market, and then depending on what they are, I just talked to a gentleman. He's getting smacked by it's a great community. The house will sell, but they're getting smacked by a $16,000 assessment, and it's not from hurricane damage. It's just from a 50-year-old tile roof on top of the units.
Yeah.
So, but things like that. I mean, there are advantages and disadvantages.
I understand the lifestyle advantages for people that don't want the maintenance and things like that.
I see it when people want mom and dad down, like right down the street. They live in the big house down the street. They want mom and dad close by. They're not ready for assisted living. You travel a bunch. Your first home, sometimes I think the advantages are there, but it just depends on your lifestyle, your job, your employment. What do you need? What's the amenities you like? I like the lifestyle, but I've got in my house, I've got a great gardener. I got a great guy to clean the lakefront. I've got a good mechanic to fix, I got a brand new roof. I got a great roofer. So I'm set in my house. That lifestyle is for certain people.
Yeah. Well, I find that it's just all about, if I look at a condominium, I got one right now. The guy wants to buy it for 160,000, cheap condo. But the association fees are almost 800.
Oh God.
I could get them into a single family residence.
Yep.
You can have a gardener. You're on your own. You could have your own gardener.
Yep.
Okay. And I could get you into about 250 for the same payment as you're going to make on
I got one
condo.
of those in Ocoee right now. A bit of a fixer up. It needs a renovation loan because it probably needs about 40, 50 grand. But I've got a single family, 4-bedroom, 2-bath house in Ocoee for 220,000.
That's great. We got to go into some of your listings.
Well, I don't have the printout with me. We're going to do that in the next segment. How much time?
Okay, we got a little bit of time. We got about
get those pulled up.
5 minutes. But in the meantime, I want to give out Cleve's phone number. He can be reached right now at 407-352-8118 for Cleve Loveland, the voice of real estate here in Orlando, or he can be reached at cleveloveland.com. And you can reach the Lone Ranger, Bruce Woodburn, 35 years experience in the mortgage business right here in your backyard. And I believe I've got the best programs, the best rates, the best fees. We're everything's in-house. We even service 90% of our loans we close. You can reach me now at 407-250-9144 or go to WeBringYouHome.com. Cleve, we got about 4 minutes to be able to cover a few more things. So we've talked about self-employed. We talked about tariffs. We talked about interest rates have settled down. We've talked about buyer opportunities, renovation. Should you do it? Should you not do it? How
Or should
much
you
to
stay?
spend
Yep.
on your house? And we talked about people working with agents that don't truly know how to represent their buyers or their sellers.
Yep.
That is frustrating for
You've
me.
been looking for a house for 7 months. You might need to make a change.
Absolutely.
So
now, and if you are a loan officer right now and you work for a company and you're a good loan officer, but you don't have the internal support, you don't have the programs, you don't have the pricing, you don't have the smooth systems, I want you to call the loan arranger. I am looking for loan officers. I'm looking for branch opportunities for people that want to expand our operation. We have literally everything a loan officer could ever want and more than you could ever believe we have. Call me now at 407-250-9144. And if you know somebody, introduce me to them. I'd really appreciate it.
And what I want to say, I got some news here. Nationwide, Bruce, prices are still rising, not as fast. Some areas are cooling. And hopefully we'll have next week, we'll have Central Florida's numbers on our median price and average price. If the board, I guess if somebody gets back from vacation, gets that report out. But I'm still seeing, I'm not seeing anybody losing any money.
No.
When I list homes, I do have some tough markets, but there is, where there's lots of competition. But if you're priced right, you'll get them.
I have investors buying property like crazy, and the investors tend to have a better pulse on it. I'm closing 3 for a lady this week. I'm closing 3 investment properties, all DSCRs. I closed 1 for her last month, and I closed 5 for her the month before. Now, this lady is buying property like crazy, and these are not cheap property. These are running $650, $675 each house, and she's buying them like crazy. A lot of them are new construction. She's buying over at Trinity and in Ridgeview and Trinity Lakes. These are great investment properties. If you're interested in becoming an investor, matter of fact, I'll be teaching an investor class in Tampa on May 7th. If you'd like to join, go to WeBringYouHome.com and register if you're going to be in the Tampa Bay area. This is not a first-time homebuyer class. This is an investor class. But if you're interested in the Tampa Bay area, come down and see me there. WeBringYouHome.com. My name is Bruce Woodburn. I am the loan arranger. I've been in the mortgage business for forever. I have the best mortgage branch in the industry, and my team and I are here to cater to your needs. If you're a client, a realtor, or a builder, you can reach me at 407-250-9144 or WeBringYouHome.com. You can reach Cleve Loveland, the voice of real estate now, at 407-352-8118 or cleveloveland.com. When we get back, we wanted to cover a few more things about the market, but we haven't given out some listings. I want to talk about some listings you've got, and then what else do you have to cover in the next segment?
Ways to save for a down payment. And this is something I think it's important for them to get with you on that. Talk about the Sleepy Joe hangover, which is kind of seeping into the market, I think.
What do you mean by the Sleepy Joe hangover? What does that mean?
The morass in the market, or morass. It's slow. And the only thing, the 5 Ds are happening, but people are a little more cautious. It's taking longer to sell a home, and sometimes people aren't getting the right advice. So, half our inventory is probably on the market, but not in the market.
I think some people are just, waiting for things to settle, but they're right now they're waiting for the tariff thing to get over with. But you know what? Before that, you were waiting for the election. Before that, you were waiting before the election. Before that, it was waiting for something else.
Yep.
What are you going to do? You're just going to keep waiting.
And you've lost $30,000 in rent in the meantime.
No kidding.
If you haven't bought yet.
So listen, we'll be back in 5 minutes with more of the Loveland Report and the Loan Arranger Show. We'll hit a couple of listings, but I also want to talk about how to save money to buy a home if you're a first-time home buyer. Cleve Loveland, the voice of real estate, 352-8118 or cleveloveland.com, or Bruce Woodburn, the Loan Arranger. You can reach me now at 407-250-9144 or WeBringYouHome.com. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere.